So you might have heard that Mother's Day can be like a second Christmas in e-commerce. And while at Christmas we can make many sales, but can we hope that Mother's Day could be a close second? With a projected $31 billion to be spent this Mother's Day, I can see why people are saying that it's like a second Christmas. And this interesting statistic supports this idea further. According to the National Retail Federation, cost is rarely a top concern when purchasing Mother's Day gifts, as only 15% of consumers prioritize finding affordable gifts for their moms. Well, that is great news for those of us in e-commerce. Whether you have a Shopify store or an Etsy shop like I do, we could make a lot of cool products and make a lot of money this Mother's Day. And the mom niche is year-round. It's an evergreen niche. So we could actually make sales all year round with these products. Hi guys, I'm Simply Shauna, and this is the fourth video in a 4-part series on Mother's Day. I will link all of the videos down below, and at the end of this video, I will go ahead and link you back to the first video from this series in case you'd like to go ahead and watch it. I also create a playlist on the channel where you can find any video that is a part of a series. I've gone ahead and made a spot to have those. So if you enjoy watching series like these, that's where I'll collect all of those. So in the first video, we did mom niches, power-packed, lots of great ideas. The second one was all about research and how to find our SEO on Etsy, our search engine optimization. So the title and the tags that help customers find us when they come to the platform of Etsy and shop for their Mother's Day gifts. The third video was how to do the market research for what designs we could be making. So we picked one of the niches that we talked about in the first video, and we went hard. We found the SEO in the second video, and in the third video, we found design trends that we wanted to incorporate in our own designs. And in this video, we're going to do the fun part, which is design. We are going to do 3 designs, and by the end of this video, you're going to have 3 nice, easy formats that you can follow. And if you open your design app and you feel kind of stuck sometimes, you're like, oh, where should I put the words? Where should I put the graphic? You are going to walk away from this video having 3 easy formats that you can follow. At the end of the video, I'll give you a nice screen that shows all 3 of them. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want. And when next time you're designing, you can take a look at that and just kind of plug and play your graphics and your text in these formats that you can use. So in case you missed the other pieces of this series, in the first series, we chose one of the niches that we spoke about because the money in print on demand or in e-commerce does not lie in generic, in this example, generic mom shirts. It lies in niched down items. So in the very first video, I give you 10 ways to niche down mom. We go with mom plus hobby. We're specifically going with the hobby of gardening. Mom plus gardening. So all of our designs today are going to be garden mom shirts. And there's ways to niche that down even further. This is where the money is. This is where the money is in print on demand when you're niching down. At the end of the video is my favorite design that I wound up coming up with, and I show you a way to get more bang for your buck, to get more than one sale with the design, and how to niche it down even further. So you'll definitely want to stick around to the very end. And if you are looking forward to this 4th and final part of this series, and you are finding value from the video so far, if you wouldn't mind smashing the like button, I'd so appreciate that because that helps me know that you're enjoying content like this. And if you don't want to miss the next video, don't forget to subscribe. Now we're going to go ahead and jump with the computer. I am going to be using 2 things in this video. One is Creative Fabrica. This is where I get all of my artwork. If I could only pick one paid tool, that would be the paid tool I would be picking. It is just fantastic, all of this artwork you can get. I do have a link down below where you can go into the description under this video and you can get a link to Creative Fabrica that will get you 10 free downloads or 1 free month so you can try them out. And you'll kind of get a taste for them in this video if you're not already familiar. The second thing I'm going to be using is GoDaddy Studios, and that's the design app that I'm going to be using. I like GoDaddy Studios because it's very friendly with, I can use it on my phone and I'm able to just pinch and kind of squeeze and do things with my fingers and not so much on the keyboard on the computer, which I find easier. I also know some really cool tricks on GoDaddy Studios that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 things in our design videos today that are super cool things that you can do with GoDaddy Studios. I do not have a link for them, but you could just Google them or on your phone, go to your apps on your phone and download it. There is a free version of GoDaddy Studios, if I remember correctly, and I don't use it. It's a limited version, so there's not a whole lot of artwork that you can get into with the free version, but I don't use a lot of the artwork from GoDaddy Studios anyways. I use it from Creative Fabrica. Whatever app you're using, you have to be able to have transparent backgrounds, because when you download the artwork that you're making for your shirt or your tote or your mug, you have to have a transparent background. If I remember correctly, the free version of GoDaddy Studios does let you download with a transparent background for free, if I remember correctly. I went ahead and paid for it really early on because at first I was using their artwork and I wanted to have access to that. Okay, let's jump on and start our designing. The first design format we're going to be designing with is repeated text with an image on the front. We did see an example of this with this mama shirt with the thunderbolt in front of the repeated text of mama, the cheetah patterned thunderbolt in front of that repeated text. We're going to do our own garden mama version of this. So here I am, I'm opening GoDaddy Studios, and I'm going to click on transparent. It's that circle there that's over to the right and toward the middle of the screen. I'm going to click on that little oval up there with the numbers so that I can put the height and width that I need. And that little yellow toggle down there, we're going to need to toggle it over in order for me to get the 2 numbers I need. I use 4500 by 5400. Now I have a transparent screen with the right dimensions for a t-shirt. I'm going to click down there where it says font, and I'm going to choose the font that I'd like. And from that research that we did with design elements that are trending, we did see that the retro fonts were trending. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to choose a retro font for our repeated text. Here I've got the word plant. I'm blowing it up. I'm using my fingers just to pinch it out, and I'm blowing it up. Now I'd like it to be all caps, and I've got a little trick for that. I'm going to style, and then I can hit caps, and those 2 capital T's there, if I press those, I'll be able to capitalize the whole word. Now I'm just going to use my fingers to pinch it so that it fits within the frame. And remember, we want the repeated text. So I'm going to go and now put the word mama, and I'm going to repeat the text plant mama and plant mama again. So I'm going to follow the same steps I did a moment ago, and I'm going to go ahead and get all of those letters in caps. Get it positioned just the way I want it. And I'm going to do plant once again. Get it in all caps. Pinch it out. I'm just using my fingers to do this because it's all on the phone. And now we're going to do mama once again in our retro groovy font. This font may or may not be a GoDaddy font. I've downloaded some fonts from Creative Fabrica. That's another cool thing about Creative Fabrica. And I don't remember if this one is a GoDaddy Studios font or if it's a Creative Fabrica font that I downloaded. GoDaddy Studios definitely does have some cool retro fonts though as well. All right, now I'm going to go through and just make that word plant white for now. We might play around with the colors in a bit. But we've got a repeated text, plant mama and plant mama. And now we're ready for a graphic to lay on top. Here we are in Creative Fabrica, and I am going to just take a look at thunder, like the thunderbolts. So we're going to do a search of the thunderbolts. I have it there. I'm going to click graphics so that I can filter my findings here by graphics. And I'm just going to take a look, kind of liking this one. Now I am going to show you something really cool that we can do. Just take a look here. This is commercial and POD usage allowed. I like to pick ones that say POD usage allowed. That means I'm allowed to put them on shirts and sweatshirts and mugs and totes and sell it. And commercial usage only means you have to change it. We actually are going to change it though. I'm going to show you something really cool. And what I'm about to show you, if I kind of lose you in this, don't worry, just pick a graphic like one of these sunflowers you could put on top that's already done, like that bouquet of sunflowers. You could totally pick something that as is, place it on top, but we are going to customize ourselves a thunderbolt back over in GoDaddy Studios. While we're here looking at sunflowers, I'm going to find something to fill my thunderbolt with, and I'm thinking a sunflower, some kind of sunflower background. If you don't love what you're finding, we can go over and filter. I'm filtering by graphics again, just to get a look at what comes up when I filter it that way. Just all of this beautiful artwork. Some of them are more, just like one image, while others are like this. And I'm thinking something like this is what I'd like to fill my thunderbolt with. So again, I'm allowed to commercial and POD usage, although for a use like we're about to use this for, I'd be comfortable with the commercial license. But again, I usually do try to stick with the POD license. That way I don't have to worry about changing things. All right, so back over here in GoDaddy Studios, I just clicked image. I'm getting into my photos here, and I'm going to grab the thunderbolt. I only want one of the thunderbolts, so I'm going to I'm enlarging it to take up the space, and I'm going to mask or erase that other one and get rid of it. So right here, mask, and then I can use this tool that it pops up and I can just erase it, which is a really cool tool, by the way. And now I'm going to place a shape over my thunderbolt, and I'm going to pick that square there. It's the second one down to the left, the solid square. And I'm going to blow the square up to take the entire space. And I need that square to be under the thunderbolt. So at the top right, there's a little stack of what looks like papers. That's the layers icon. I'm going to tap on that. And now I can pull that white square by just touching it and dragging it. I can pull it underneath my thunderbolt. It looks like two thunderbolts there, but we masked one of them out. So now we've got the white square as the first layer and the thunderbolt as the second layer. Next, we're going to go ahead and go look for that image that we downloaded. I'm going to need to go into my photos again, and that's the one I wanted to use on our thunderbolt. And I'm going to use my fingers to pinch it and make it cover, and I'm also kind of just turning it. I'm just doing this with my fingers. And I want it to cover the whole thunderbolt. Our thunderbolt is going to be filled with this pattern, and you could do this with any pattern. And it's going to be the top layer. So it's the white square, then our thunderbolt, then our pretty image here on top. Now I have that image selected, and down here, I'm in my menu down here, I'm going to go all the way to the end to get to blend, which pops up another little menu, and I'm going to slide over to lighten. And boom, is that not so cool? We can do our thunderbolt however we want. Now we're almost done. We need to download this, and that's the button to do it. That's going to make it an image on our phone. Right now it has that white background. Now we're going to hit this yellow button, and we're going to download it as a PNG file. Export settings, if you have a hard time downloading it as a PNG file, mine does that, but that would be the spot to fix that if it tries to download in your phone as something else. So now I go back into images, and I'm going to pull this new image that I just created back into this new screen here that I have in my project. and I just went to remove. You can see it down there at the bottom. And it removed the white background. Bada bing, bada boom. I've got this super duper cool Thunderbolt that I can use that's gardeny with its sunflowers in front of my repeated text. Now I'm just using my fingers to slide back and forth between these pages I'm opening in this project. You just want to make sure you don't have, like a word or an image selected. Otherwise it'll try to move your image. You'll have to check that little check mark up there in the top right corner if that's happening. And then you'll be able to slide back and forth between your projects. So I hope that didn't seem too complicated. It's really kind of just 2 steps. The first one of getting your white square, your image on top of that square, and the pattern that you want your image to take on top of your graphic or your image. Then blending it, downloading it into your phone, and the second step is to just remove that white background afterwards. If you run into any trouble with that, make sure the image is black. I didn't mention that. Your graphic, or you could also do this with words. You could take the word mama or the word plant and put your pattern on top of that, and then your letters would be patterned. You would just want to make sure that your word or your image were black. This will only work if the image is black and your shape, that white square, had to be white. For my newbies, kind of like when you're in a workout, like an exercise video, and you're watching the exercise video and they show you the modified version. This is the modified version for my newbies. Just pick an image that is already done. You don't have to go and invent an image. But once you're ready for that, this is a really cool thing that you can do. I did watch 2 videos, like how-to videos in YouTube, in GoDaddy Studios, and I kind of meshed the 2 of them together to kind of, be able to do this technique and be able to do these kinds of things for my designs. So you can always go back and rewatch that when you're ready to create something like that. Now I'm just back in layers. I got to that with that little stacked papers looking icon at the top right. And I'm going to go down to the bottom there, that bottom layer, and I'm going to change the color of it. So instead of having a transparent background, I put a black background because I'm going to put this on a black shirt, and I just, wanted to see what it would look like. So there we have our first design format, our repeated text with the graphic in front. And with my repeated text, you might have noticed instead of saying the same exact piece of text over and over again, like mama, 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 I had plant mama, plant mama. So that still works. And now we're ready for our second design format. And that is going to be a graphic on one side. And right here, I'm showing it to you with the graphic on the left side and text on the right side. And depending on the graphic, you might line your text up over to one side or justify it over to the other side, depending on the graphic. I'll show you an example in a second. But you can also flip this. The graphic could go on the other side and the text could flip over to the opposite than what I'm showing it to you here in this example. So the 2 pieces of market research that influenced this next design are these phrases and a couple of other designs as far as design elements, which I'll reveal those in just a moment. But these are the phrases that kind of got me thinking about the phrase that I use in our next design. Here I am in the same project, just a new page in our GoDaddy Studios. And I'm going back into the fonts, and I'm going to choose the font that I'd like to use. The words on this one are going to be mama, mommy, mom, plant lady. I'm going to just kind of pinch them and move them around a bit. I do want to line them up or justify them over to the right. So I'm going to hit this button here, Style. And now I can go ahead and hit Align and that button over there to the right, which will align them all over to the right side for me. In order to have less space between the words, I'm going to hit these buttons here, space, and then that button I'm showing you there. And now I can use this slider scale to just space the words out the way I'd like them to be spaced out. I can squeeze them together. I can make them further apart if I want. And I'm just going to mess with that a little bit. And then we'll be ready to go find a graphic. Back over to Creative Fabrica for us. I have retro flowers here. And I do remember seeing skeletons as one of the trending elements. We went ahead, we had jotted that down in the last video. So I'm typing flowers, skeleton, and just seeing what I come up with. That one I was just circling. I did try that one, and it was not fitting well with the way my text was laid out. I really liked that rib cage with the flowers. This might be cool and would probably fit in the space that I have. I think that would be a good option. But it's just really fun to kind of look and see. I really like the bundles. You can see those ones there with a bunch of graphics. I like those because you have just so many options that kind of match each other. And let's see. Lots of skeletons with flowers. You want to sometimes just, almost time yourself when you're on Creative Fabrica because there are so many cool options. I have wasted time doing this. So sometimes I put a timer on and I only allow myself a certain amount of time. Also, I usually have a goal. Like I know that I'm looking for an image for that particular space. Otherwise, I could just click on things and wind up looking at totally unrelated designs that I didn't need for what I'm working on right now because it's just fun. So let's do flowers, dancing, skeleton, and see what we can find. Only a few things there. Plants, dancing. Let's do plants, skeleton, and see what we got. Ooh, she's kind of cool. So I did wind up trying that kind of garden-looking skeleton lady. I thought she would look super cool, and with the phrase, I just thought it was perfect. But I couldn't get her to fit well. So I wound up downloading one of those images that had the 3 skeletons because they're long, and they're kind of dancing and they're holding plants. So we're going to get one of those to work. Back to GoDaddy. We're going to go into our phone to get the image. So I clicked on image, and I just grabbed this image. So I don't want all 3 of them. I'm going to go over to that mask tool. So I made sure the image is selected, and I'm grabbing the mask tool, and I'm just going to erase the skeletons that I don't want to use. So I'm going to use this guy here, but it would be better if his foot was kind of over the other way. So we're going to flip that little guy. All right, I've got my text moved just about where I want it. And now I'm going to go back and select the skeleton, and I'll show you how to flip him so his leg can go kind of kinked over the other way. So first I have to make sure he's selected, and now I'm going to go to rotate. And then I'm going to hit that little icon I'm pointing out there, and it's going to flip him the other direction. It's like he did a little dance move. And now I'm just going to move him around a little bit until, I like where he is. I'm paying attention to make sure he's completely within the frame. I wouldn't want his elbow to get cut off, and then it would look like there was a mistake on the shirt or something. You want to make sure it looks professional. It's all there. And now I can mess with the color of the text. I am planning on putting this on a black shirt, so kind of be thinking ahead of what color shirt you're placing your design on. Let's see what it looks like if I match it to the bones. It looks kind of almost Halloween-y. Let's go hit that layers button again real quick and do a black background. So I'm going to select the bottom there, the transparent background, and now I'll be able to change the color of the transparent background. I'm going to turn it black so I can see what I'm doing and what it will look like more or less on a black shirt. So I'm not loving the white text. Let's play around with the screen for a second. I don't know how I'm feeling about that either. So I like to color match with the image that I'm using. So I'm just kind of dragging it through some different spots there. I'm actually thinking of maybe going back to the white text and putting a shadow on it. Maybe a green shadow and pulling in one of the colors. So I just flipped it back to white, and now at the bottom with the text selected, I can get to the shadow button. And then after I have the shadow button selected, I can change the color. And I'm gonna go to this little medicine dropper tool, and I'm able to do a color from the skeleton. And now I'm messing with the opacity so that it's dark. I don't want it any, I think it's at 40% when, like, automatically when you do it. So I just turned it up to 100% so we could see the shadow. I think I can see it better on my phone than actually it's coming out on the YouTube video, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. And then you wouldn't want to forget to go back and turn it back to a transparent background because you don't want it downloaded with that black background. You can't print on a shirt like that. So there we have two of our design formats. We did our repeated text with the graphic on the front, and now we have our graphic with the text to the side, either justified to the left or to the right, depending on your graphic. And now it's time for our third and last format for our designs that we're going to go over today. We're going to do two circles with text between the two circles at the top and bottom and a graphic in the middle. And we did see some designs that were done kind of circle-y here in our design research. We had this one, Hoeing Ain't Easy, and Garden is My Therapy, both done kind of differently, but both in this kind of circle format. So we're going to do ours up with the two circles, the text, and then the graphic in the middle. Back over here in GoDaddy and a fresh page, I'm going to the shape here. We're going to get our circle shape, our large circle shape. And now I'm going to choose that circle up there toward the top, the empty one. Just want the outline of the circle. And with my fingers, I am going to pinch it out. Be careful because you could like make it an oval or warp it. So you want to just carefully do that so it keeps its circle shape. And now we're going back up there to that layer button, and I'm going to duplicate the circle, or I could have gone back into shapes and done it again. And now I'm shrinking this guy, and I don't know if it's hard for you to see on the YouTube video, but I can see these two yellow lines giving me the crosshairs so I know if it's centered with the other circle. So I'm just kind of moving it around, and I may have to adjust it a little more after I start playing with my text. But here is the basic concept with our two circles. I went back and selected the larger circle and went to borders. And now I am messing with the width. And I'm doing this for both circles. So again, I select the circle and I have to go to borders, and then I can mess with the width. So I gave myself a thicker circle to work with. Now I'm in text, and I'm going to write plant across the top. And I am going to choose my text. It took me a while to find this one, but I went ahead and did it beforehand. And I want it in all caps, which will lose that like little underlined A. So I showed you how to do that earlier. I'm just going to make it all caps. But now something new, I want to curve this text. So I'm going to stay in style, and I'm going to go over there to curve. And on my little slider scale there, I can play with the curve. And this is going to take me a minute to get it to fit just the way I want it. And I may need to move my circles around just a bit. But I'm going to get that plant to just curve around. And now I want the bottom text, and I'm going to do mama down there. So it's going to say plant mama. But this text, I want it to curve up. So same steps. I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to go over to curve. But this way, this time I'm going to slide it over the other direction to get it to curve up. And I may need to kind of, pinch it and adjust the size a little bit to get it to fit. Or I may need to adjust that inner circle there to get it to fit just right. I'm just going to play with it for a minute here. and get the curve just right so it fits. And these things, they just take a moment. I already went ahead and downloaded some graphics from Creative Fabrica. It was actually a bundle pack. And we're going to use this wheelbarrow for this mama shirt. And what's really cool about this design is we're actually going to make a mini shirt for this as well to double our sales and to niche down even further. And we'll use a little bit slightly different image. But here's my wheelbarrow, and I'm just going to adjust it. I also want to get rid of the words that this graphic came with. So our good old handy masking tool. If you do something like that, you can press the back button and fix it. It's one of my best friends, that little back button. And I'm just taking a second to go ahead and erase those words with our handy dandy masking tool. So we've got our wheelbarrow here, and now I can start playing with the colors of these different pieces. And I like to, just use the colors that are in my image so everything kind of works together. I'm just playing with this, with that little, like that little medicine dropper looking tool. I am liking this wheelbarrow color. So I'm thinking, I'm going into layers to grab the different pieces here. That way I grab what I'm looking for right away rather than one of the big circles or something. Sometimes just wants to be the one that you always grab when you're touching around. So that's why I keep going into layers. So here we go in all green. And I do think I like that. All right, so now let's get double the bang for our buck and let's do a mini shirt for this design. You were wondering how I get to a new page. I'm going to hit this little button here. So I'm still working on the same project. And I don't want to redo this entire design, but I do want it to match for the mini. So now I can just press this little button here. And bada boom, bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. We've got a second image that is just going to pull right over here, a replica, duplicate of what we were just working on. And now I could just change the pieces I want to change. So instead of plant mama, I'm going to go in and put little. I'm going to mess with that a little bit to get it just right. Can you guess what I'm going to put down in the bottom? I do like what I came up with for this mama and mini garden shirt. So I've got little just right. And now I'm going to go select mama. And we're going to put sprout. I think it's so cute, little sprout. So I do need to make that all caps again. That just went back to lowercase there. I'll fix that up right now. And I'll get the curve corrected. That word's longer, so I'm needing to adjust that curve. And now we've got two designs. But I kind of wanted a matching graphic, but not the same exact graphic. So Mama has a big wheelbarrow there, and I did get this artwork from, a bundle in Creative Fabrica. So I'm going to go in and grab this other image that came in the bundle, and we're going to mask out a whole bunch of this. I just want this little, it's the same flowers, but they're in a little pot instead. Like the little version is what I was thinking of the wheelbarrow. And of course, back over to our handy masking tool. And I'm just going to carefully mask out these pieces that I don't want in our design. And I can kind of just zoom in there to make sure I don't make a mistake or leave something, because then if you leave something even super tiny, it's going to print, and then your customer might not be happy about that. Look like something strange on the shirt. So here we go. We've got our matching little sprout and plant mama. We could put it on a black, background there so we could see what it's going to look like when we print it on a black shirt. I actually think this would look really good on a white shirt also. So there we have it. All three of our plug and play formats that we can just go and use when we don't know where to put our text or where to put our graphics. We've got all three of them right there. I'll leave them there on the screen for a second in case you want to take a screenshot. and you can use this if you are not sure which direction to go in. Thanks so much for staying to the end. I so hope you found value from this video and that it makes designing easier for you. I hope you make gobs and gobs of cash this Mother's Day. If you did have your attention drawn to something new or valuable, I would so appreciate if you take an extra second to go ahead and smash the like button. Don't forget to say hello in the comments. Let me know what you liked or what you want to see next. If you liked a series like this, if you have another idea for another type of series that you'd like me to do let me know. I so thank you. I do hope you have a great rest of your day and make lots of fantastic Mother's Day designs. And if you're still here, I know that you're waiting for that tip from Tucker. So, Tucker, take it away.